Okay, since we have 1.5 hour time, so we will going to see both conventional and AutoCAD part also. So here today I'm going to explain some of the problems which are related to the projections of planes concept, and after that I'll go to the AutoCAD session. Okay, so let me consider a problem here. A regular lamina of 30 mm sides and pentagonal lamina of 30 mm sides rests on horizontal plane on one of its corners such that the plane surface is perpendicular to VP and makes an angle 60 degrees with horizontal plane. Draw its projections. A regular pentagonal lamina of 30 mm sides rests on horizontal plane on one of its corners such that the plane surface is perpendicular to the vertical plane and makes an angle of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane. So initially lamina is actually resting on the horizontal plane on one of its corners and the plane surface is perpendicular to the vertical plane. So which means if you consider this one as the pentagonal plane here, so if you consider there is a vertical plane like this, and if you consider there is a horizontal plane like this, on one of its corners the plane surface is such that it is perpendicular to the vertical plane. Now it is perpendicular to the vertical plane and makes an angle of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane, which means it is like this. Now it is making an inclination of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane, and this plane is also perpendicular to the vertical plane. Now let me take the X-file, and before starting, Z enter, and A enter. This is the XY line that I'm considering. Now, a regular pentagonal lamina of 30 mm side rests on horizontal plane. Rests on one of its corners, or it's on horizontal plane on one of its corners, which means a pentagonal prism. Then this might not look like exactly a pentagon, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 corners for this pentagon, right? So he is saying that this particular surface is, or this particular lamina is actually resting on the horizontal plane such that one of its corners. So it has 5 corners. One of its corners has to be on the horizontal plane, okay, and the plane surface has to be perpendicular to the vertical plane. This is not perpendicular to the vertical plane. The vertical plane will be like this, and the plane surface here is also this way, which means vertical plane and surface will become parallel. So that's why you need to rotate this one 90 degrees so that the vertical plane will be like this and the pentagonal will be like this, and it should be resting on the horizontal plane on one of its corners. and the plane surface is perpendicular to the VP and makes an angle of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane, which means this particular surface here is actually making an inclination of 60 degrees with the vertical. If so, how does it actually looks like from the front view, and how does it actually looks like from the top view? We need to find that. Okay, so from the front view it will just look like a line, right? So what should be the dimension of that line if there is a pentagonal of side 30 mm? That is what we need to find. So how does it actually looks to you from the top, and how does it actually looks to you from the front? So let me open the AutoCAD. Let me first I have to take a dimension of 30 and then 90 18 degrees should be there, so 30 and this angle must be 18 and has to make another 18 degrees, 30 and 18. No, wait. 108. It should be 108. This one is horizontal. Dimension, so it has to be. Let me take from this side. Let me start from this side. Somewhat confusing. No need to, because we can use the arcs. This dimension is 30, right? I just want to make sure because yeah, it is. Yeah, both are exactly like I want them to be. Now what to do? Let me take a circle. We have to take the arcs, dimension 30, and from here also take a dimension of 30. So wherever these two are going to intersect, okay, I'm going to trim this. There are so many basic methods are there in order to make a pentagon. You can follow as you want to. Several methods are there, you can follow anyone. I think these are distracting. I'm going to delete these two also. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to give the markings, say A, B, C. I think it is not following the order. D, say C, E. So let me project it upwards, okay, and let me get a straight line. It's getting difficult. Okay, move this line. Moving this thing is getting very difficult. So that means Okay. This one has to be horizontal. Drawing this one in AutoCAD is getting very difficult. I'll do one thing. And the previous one is also not horizontal, so I don't want that to be happening. So that's the reason why. Yeah, there it is. This is the line that I wanted. So now at this particular point, both A dash comma B dash will be there. I'm gonna use some small letters here so that I have to mark a point also. Projections. I'm just drawing the projections. That's why I'm so concerned. Even if we do a single mistake, see here, these two lines are not. I think I don't want that to be happening. That's why I need to draw the projections. So let me trim this extended portion here. Okay. Yes, now. So let me mark this particular one as E dash. Okay. C dash and D dash. By the way, this is conventional part, okay? This is not the AutoCAD part. Now what do we need to do? First we need to assume that, see here, I told you in the earlier classes also, if you get a straight line in the front view, so whatever the angle that particular surface is making with the horizontal, take that first, then your problem will be very much easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure this line 46.17, keep that aside. What else was given to us? Plane surface is actually perpendicular to the vertical plane and it has to make an inclination of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane. From this one, since it is perpendicular to the vertical plane, okay, this particular surface is actually now perpendicular to the vertical plane. Okay, so that's why in the front view initially we have to take it as it is resting on the horizontal plane. Okay, so what we are going to do now is we will going to lift it like this at an up to an inclination of 60 degrees. Okay, if he didn't mention that, you know, it is not perpendicular to the vertical plane, we will take the pentagon horizontal, you know, some inclination with the horizontal as like this. we can take it anyways, any way we want to. But whereas he has specifically mentioned that this particular plane is actually perpendicular to the vertical plane, so which means it has to be raised like this. With respect to the vertical plane, it has to be raised like this, then only this surface will be perpendicular to the vertical plane. Okay, we should not raise it like this. If we do so, what happens, the angle with the vertical plane is changing with respect to the angle that we are giving to the horizontal plane. So that's why we don't want that to be happening. We are lifting the pentagon in this way. So I'm going to take this dimension here at an inclination of 46.17 and at an inclination of 60 degrees. We should give the we should find the location of C dash and D dash as well. So for that, yeah, 28.83. Okay, now, so what we are going to do now is we will going to project these inclined projections, okay, such that we will get the projection how does this pentagon will actually looks like from the top view. On this particular projection, A dash, B dash will be there. I don't want to get any errors. Let me delete this one first. Okay, these are just vertical lines. Now project these points also onto these vertical lines. Planes concept is somewhat tougher to understand. Don't worry, you guys need a lot of imagination. If you don't understand this one, just look at the previous videos at once. I think you will get some idea. Now A dash and B dash projection will be has to be on this one. So wherever this A and A dash are going to meet, that's going to be we will name it as, yeah, at this location we will name it as A1 dash. No, A1. We just have to simply leave it as A1. So wherever this A dash B dash projection line and the B8 are going to meet, I'm going to name it as B1, and similarly C dash and the C projection are going to meet here. So I'm gonna name this one as C1. Now similarly D dash, C dash, this is the C dash D dash projection, are meeting here. Yeah. Yeah, I think I respond. No problem. I can just drag this one up to this location. Now, E projections are meeting here. So this is going to be E1. So if we join all these points, we get the projections of this particular pentagon. So this is the one that we actually require. So when you watch a pentagon of 30 mm side, you know, which is actually perpendicular to the vertical plane, and which is actually at an inclination of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane. This is how it is going to look like from the top view. This is how it is going to look like from the front view, which means from the front view it will just look like a straight line to you, and from the top view it will just look like this. It will not look like this, it will look like this. So that's the dimension, so that's the figure, that's the projection that we got here. Okay, so let me take another problem. Okay, so let's see the second problem. Okay, now let's see the second problem here. A thin rectangular cardboard lamina has one of its corners on the horizontal plane, and the surface makes 60 degrees with the horizontal plane, and draw its projections when the diagonal passing through that corner on the horizontal plane is parallel to the vertical plane. The size of the lamina is 50 by 20 mm. Okay. Let us try to first understand each and everything that was given in the problem, and I've told this actually in the earlier classes also, so I will repeat the procedure again. So whenever you are given a problem that is actually related to the planes, how to solve that one. Okay, what are the things or what are the points that you need to remember while solving the problems which are related to these plane problems. Okay, a thin rectangular cardboard lamina has one of its corners on the horizontal plane. See, assume that this is the rectangular lamina that is actually talking about. Okay, it has four corners, 1 2 3 4. Okay, and one of its corners on the HP, which means if you assume that there is a vertical plane and there is a horizontal plane, then one of its corners is in the horizontal plane like this. Okay, it could be anywhere in this three-dimensional space like this, keeping this corner, but whereas we were given another condition. So the surface makes 60 degrees with the horizontal plane. So here either this has to be like this or this has to be like this. Okay, and one more thing, one more condition was actually also given to us. So now it is making, the corner is in HP and it is making, the surface is making 60 degrees inclination, and when the diagonal passing through the corner of the HP is parallel to the VP. He wants us to draw the projections when the diagonal we have two different diagonals here. These two are the diagonals for this rectangular plane lamina, and when the diagonal passing through that corner on the HP is parallel to the VP. See here, if you assume this one as the corner, which is actually sitting on the HP, then this diagonal has to be made parallel to the vertical plane, which means whenever it is like this, the diagonal has to remain like this. It should not make any inclination with the vertical plane. Okay, if it is making inclination with the horizontal plane, means it is like this. We are not concerned with the inclination with the horizontal plane. We are concerned with the angle of inclination of this particular diagonal with the vertical plane, which means it has to be parallel to the vertical plane. This particular diagonal which is actually passing through this corner. So what do we do now is, first we will try to draw that rectangle, and after that we will measure the diagonal dimension and we will try to place it parallel to the vertical plane, and then we will start our problem. So I'm going to give the general procedure in order to solve the problems which are actually related to these planes. So whenever you are given so the first thing that you need to remember is the given problem was included with or the given lamina is included with a surface inclination with some horizontal plane or maybe a vertical plane. Okay, maybe it is making inclination with, he will give you certain conditions. Maybe that particular plane surface is making some inclination with the horizontal plane and both vertical plane also. But whereas initially assume that start the problem as it is parallel to one of the planes. Okay, and while taking these parallel to the horizontal plane or vertical plane or lying on the horizontal plane or vertical plane, be careful, because depending upon your problem only you have to choose whether it has to be parallel to the horizontal plane or it has to be parallel to the vertical plane initially. After that, make it inclined to one of the planes, or take the inclination of that particular surface with the horizontal plane initially, and get the front view and top view. And I told you, so if you get a some straight line in the front view, so try to keep or take the initial inclination of that particular lamina with the horizontal plane. Suppose if you are getting a vertical line in the top view, then take the inclination with the vertical plane initially. Once you have taken this, whether it is lying on the horizontal plane or lying on the vertical plane or parallel to the HP or parallel to the VP, the next thing that you need to do is, if you get a straight line in the front view, you have to take the initial inclination with respect to the horizontal plane. If you are getting a straight line in the top view, take the initial inclination with the vertical plane, and then depending upon the third condition or fourth condition, you have to get the final front view and final top view. Okay, remember these points. So in this given problem, we will try to find the conditions that we need to satisfy. Condition number 1. First condition is one of its corners should be on horizontal plane or HP. Second condition, its surface has to make an inclination with horizontal plane. In this case here 60 degrees. Yeah, so after that, third one is the diagonal passing through the corner on HP is parallel to VP. These are the three conditions that we need to satisfy. Remember, the condition need not to be satisfied in order. First and foremost thing that you need to understand, the conditions need not to be satisfied in the order, which means the first condition has to be satisfied initially, or the second condition has to be satisfied initially, or the third condition has, which means third condition has to be satisfied in the third stage, not like that. So in this one you have to choose conditions in such a way that it is going to give you the initial stage or initial step. Okay, so right now I'm going to assume that this rectangle is actually lying on the horizontal plane by keeping, since I want to I want this diagonal to be parallel to the vertical plane, I will keep this one parallel to the vertical plane. Okay, so since I need to keep this corner here, so I have to choose this diagonal. Since I need to keep this corner here, I have to choose this particular diagonal parallel to the vertical plane. If the particular plane surface is actually lying on the HP, okay, which means this edge is actually parallel to the vertical plane, but I want this diagonal to be parallel to this vertical plane, so I am going to shift it like this. Now this diagonal and the vertical plane both are parallel. Okay, so from the top view, how does it actually going to look like? From the front view, how does it actually going to look like? I will take those projections, which means I am taking the third one initially. I have to satisfy these three conditions, need not to be in order. Okay, so I'm going to satisfy this condition first. So let me draw an XY line. XY line. So first let us draw the rectangle with the given dimensions so that we can find the diagonal dimension. So the given dimensions are given dimensions are 50 by 20, 50, okay, let us measure this dimension length, this line length. So which is 53.85. So I am going to draw a line horizontally. Oh my god, that's right. grid snap mode is on, so I want to recheck the dimension. I just want to make sure the dimensions are also given properly. 20 correct, 50 correct, 53.85. so I'm going to draw a line of 53.85. okay, this one has to be the diagonal. So now what am I supposed to do? This diagonal length and this diagonal length both are remains same. To measure the angle also, let us measure the angle. It remains the same. Here also the angle will remain the same. If this angle is 22, this angle will also become 22, obviously. At an inclination of 22, okay, after that take the dimension 20, and this time it has to be 90 minus 22, and it was 70, 68. Both are perpendicular, has to be perpendicular. So now I'm assuming this particular corner here is on the HP. Now I have to project these. First let us give the naming. A, B, C, and D. In the problem, if you mentioned about the corner points, then you have to specify the same corner points. Okay, remember that. I don't want this thing to snap to anything else. This is the line dimension that we actually require. So let me trim these extended portions here. So this will become A dash, C dash, D dash, B dash. Okay, just want to change the color so that you guys can see that. Let me give blue. Okay, so now what else we need to do? So we have, as per the given conditions, the diagonal passing through the corner on the HP, which means now we are keeping a corner C on the horizontal plane. అంటే మీరు దీన్ని ABCD అనుకుంటే markings here, B, D. So if you take A, B, C, D likewise, then we are keeping the C corner on the horizontal plane like this, and okay, at certain this particular diagonal has to be parallel to the vertical plane.
Okay, now it is just parallel to the vertical plane. What we are going to do now is we will going to incline this surface with the horizontal plane by 60 degrees. Okay, then we are satisfying all the three conditions. First thing we need to do is one of its corners has to be on the HP. So let's measure this line. Obviously it is equal to the same dimension as that of diagonal. It has to be, right, because both are parallel and projections have been made. 58.35, of course. So let me draw a line. Since the second condition has to be satisfied, this condition is satisfied. Okay, this condition is also, both of them can be satisfied at once. Okay, it has to make an inclination of, sorry, this one is also satisfied. It has to make an inclination of 60 degrees with the horizontal plane. So 53.85 at an inclination of 60. Okay, so let me place the markings as well. 7. Obviously both of them have to be equal, so 7.49 and 7.49. What? No, can't we do one thing? I will just take a line. 7.49. I will take this point. And I'm going to name a point which is actually touching this horizontal plane as C1 dash. మా మాట్లాడతాం. Okay, now from this end also I have to 7.49. At this particular point D1 dash, D1 dash. So I'm going to erase these lines, we don't need them. Okay, now what do we need to do? We need to draw the projections. Okay. Okay, C and B will be on the same line because this is just a horizontal line, because this diagonal is actually parallel to the xy line. Let's mark the intersection points. Wherever this a1's projection, a1 dash projection is going to meet a, we will name it as a1, and wherever this b's projection is going to meet with b1 dash, we will name it as, sorry, turn the snap mode. Now similarly, wherever this C projection and C projection, C1 dash projection and C projection are going to meet, I'm gonna write it as C1. Now similarly, yeah, D. Right. No, this is the one. So this is just D1. So let us join all of them so that we can see how does this actually going to look like. Right. B's projection, B. DD. Made a mistake here. This is the location of C. Yeah. This is how this rectangular plane lamina will look like, okay, whose diagonal is parallel to the vertical plane. Okay, diagonal endpoint is actually resting on the horizontal plane, and the plane surface is actually making 60 degrees with the horizontal plane. I hope it is clear. Okay, this is the second problem. Now okay, if there are any topics that you want me to, I want to repeat the second unit one more time, okay, about the points, straight lines again, after completing 2 more problems in this one. But since we have huge amount of time, I don't want to only restrict this session to conventional drawing, but I want to tell you guys about the AutoCAD too. So I'm gonna stop these problems here, and I'm going to completely talk about the AutoCAD problems. Okay.
Okay, let's take a new tab. Today we will talk about the union, subtract, intersect, and few more three-dimensional solid editing commands are there. Sorry, solid means it's a three-dimensional object. So 3D editing commands are there. So we will see some of these solid editing commands. Okay. So the first one that we're going to see is the union command. So union, subtract and intersect. So you might have came across these words before. Union means this command is going to make 2 different objects as one. Okay, so that is what union means. I'll try to
it is going to add let's go to the 3D view. Let me draw a cube. Now let's take another cube, or let's take a cylinder. Why can't we extrude that one? So let's go to the top view. Let me take a circle. Okay, let me extrude this circle here. Let me go to the shaded with edges mode. So let's use the union command. Union command means when we use it on two different objects here. So basically what it will do is it is going to make two different objects as one. See, now if you take your cursor to any one of these objects, this entire these two objects are getting selected. So that is what union does. It is going to make two different objects as one. Okay, and I'll tell you guys about the applications in the later class, but whereas for now just see this part. Okay, now I'm going to undo what I have done. Let us extrude this one. Let us see the subtract command. Okay, say that I want to subtract this one. Okay, I'm going to subtract this cylinder. So in this one, unlike the previous case, in case of a union, we have selected these two objects, and then we have just pressed enter. But whereas now, first we need to, in this case, we have to select the objects independently. Okay, we can't select them at a time and then just press enter, but we have to separate, select them independently. The first object that is going to be selected will be kept, and the second object will be subtracted from the first object. So that is how the subtract command is going to work. So I want to keep this rectangular portion here, so I'm going to select this one. Okay, and then just press enter, and then select this cylinder. Okay, now this cylindrical portion, whatever that is actually, how much even it is interacting with this rectangular surface up to this portion, right? So this portion, additional portion, will be removed. Okay, that is how the subtract command is going to be useful for you. Press enter. If I go to this view, can you guys see that? So whatever the cylindrical portion that was actually there, so it will be removed. So this one also has some applications, like while the example is while making the nuts or bolts. Likewise, in order to some of the geometries which may include some of the basic surfaces, so using these basic three-dimensional objects, we can use the subtract, interact and union commands to get shapes very easily. So now let's talk about the intersect command. So the name itself indicates intersection of these two. So here, let me go to the X-ray mode. Now can you guys see, this is the cubical portion that is actually inside of this cylinder, right? So what does intersect is going to do is, the common portion which is actually interacting, so which means in this cylinder, entire cylinder, this much of portion is being interacting with this this cube, and in this cube this much of portion is also actually interacting with this cylinder. So whatever the portion that is inside of this cylinder will be kept, and whatever the portions that are individually, they will be trimmed out. So that is how this intersection command is going to work. In this one, you can select the objects, press enter. Okay, so this is actually the intersection of both of these objects. So we can select them at a time. So unlike this union command and subtract command, subtract command, we can select both the objects at a time. Okay, in case of subtract only, we have to select the objects independently. Okay, so first we need to select the object that we want to keep, and secondly we have to select the object that we want to subtract from the first object's portion. Okay, so this is how the interaction command is going to work. I hope you guys have understand these three. So I'm going to move to the next tool, that is fillet edge. So you have seen this two-dimensional fillet here. So if I go to this drafting and annotation, so usually say that there is some rectangle. Okay, this is the fillet option. So I need to specify the radius. So now something like around 5. Too large, yeah. Still it is too large. Still it is too large. Okay, so this is how this fillet is actually going to work. But in case of 3D, this is also similar, but whereas it is going to be applied throughout the thickness. Right now this one is not having any kind of thickness, so if it is having thickness means throughout this thickness this fillet radius will be applied. I'm going to apply the extrude command. Okay, so let me create the same cube here, approximately of the same dimension. I hope so. Okay, choose fillet edge. Try to make it a habit calling whatever the command that you want to call from the command bar. Okay, so this is going to be, wait, see, if you guys are not able to see the command bar, press Ctrl and 9 at a time, okay, or Ctrl plus 9. Okay, if it is not visible to you, then press Ctrl plus 9, it will come back into your viewport. So let us select fillet edge, not fillet. Fillet is for two-dimensional objects and edge is for three-dimensional objects. So I'm going to select this edge, radius say 0.1, no, let's take 0.2. Okay, in order to apply this fillet, these solid editing commands, sometimes for some tools you need to press enter twice. Okay, if you want to produce it likewise, then also you can produce it, but whereas I just want to show you guys the difference. So if you want the same type of two-dimensional object, then what you can do is you can just select this one, but you have to give the proper amount of this fillet radius. The fillet radius in case of these two is different. Okay, I thought it's 0.2, but it's not 0.2. Don't worry about this rotation, I'll tell you guys. and to and how to. Okay, so you can create the same object using two different ways, but it's up to you which method that you want to follow. But my suggestion is go for the method that is going to take less amount of time. This is how we create fillet. Let us apply chamfer to this one also. Why can't we apply chamfer? Chamfer edge. You know how a chamfer works, right? So if you don't know, I'm going to explain this one. I'm not going to the 2D again. Okay, I'm going to explain the chamfer right here. Okay, chamfer is going to be something like this. So if we take a fillet, it will create certain radius. Okay, it's going to make an arc, but whereas chamfer is going to works very differently. So let us take a dimension of, just not selected. Yeah, let's take a dimension of say 0.1, 0.2, 0.1 is fine, and on the other side also 0.1. Okay, and then press enter. Oops, sorry, I have to press that twice. I told you guys already. So go to fillet. If you want to call it using the command bar, go to the fillet edge option and then give chamfer. Sorry for that. Chamfer edge. Take a distance of 0.1. Distance 2 also should be 0.1. Just center twice. Okay, hope you guys can see the difference. This one is of very sharp distance. It is going to cut, simply it is going to cut that particular dimension. Say that I'm going to explain this one in now. If it is a fillet, okay, so if it is a fillet, it is going to apply a certain radius here. Let me take a circle as an example. So what, in case of chamfer, this is the dimension that you need to provide. Okay, so initially you need to provide two different dimensions here. So here you can see, can you guys see this here? I'm gonna redo this again to explain how to do this one, because when you're trying to do it, you know, if you don't get it, you will get frustrated. I don't want that to be happening. You will obviously start ending it with closing this AutoCAD. So that's why I'm repeating this one so deeply. See here, we have to select the edge first, press D, okay, press D, enter, and give whatever the dimension that you want to. See here, it is asking for specify the distance 1. So that distance is this one. So if I provide 0.1 here, it is going to give 0.1. But whereas, see the second one. Second one is not 0.1. Okay, that's why you need to be careful. Okay, you might have think like in case of fillet I have given only one dimension here, like some radius or something, or 0.2 mm of radius, so that no need to give that again. But if you think likewise, you're wrong. So you have to be careful. You have to give two distances here. This is distance 1 and this is distance 2, d2. Okay, now specify the second distance also. Okay, then you have to press enter twice. Okay, so that is how you make a chamfer. So after that, you have this extract edges command. Okay, extract edges is nothing but it is going to extract the edges that are actually belong to this object. So what you can use that option, but whereas with the application I'll explain. But for right now, just see what does it actually going to create. If I move this, it may seems to be nothing is happening here. Can you guys see that? It has extracted all the edges. Okay, so I will tell you the application of this one later. Seems to be confusing, but the object remains the same, but it is going to take out these edges in order to, its use is there. I will explain it later. Now the next one is the thicken. So if there is some surfaces there, since we are not dealing with the surfaces right now, I will talk about this particular tool later. So after that, taper faces. See, taper faces is going to be helpful whenever you want to, suppose if you take this particular face here, if you want this to be make at certain inclination, a taper one, then you can use this command taper faces. So first you need to select the face. That's not the one. Okay, this is the face that I want to use taper. Press enter, specify the base point. Okay, now about this particular point alone, taper will be there. Now if you notice, it is asking for specify the taper angle, and you can also see that one in the command bar. Specify the taper angle. Say that I have given some 40 degrees inclination. If I just press enter, watch what happens. Wait, I think it has not taken taper here. Even though I'm selecting this edge, it is not allowing this one. Okay, base, say 40, press enter. Now see here, I'm going to select taper faces. Now it is asking me to select the faces, so I'm going to select this particular face, press enter, specify the base point. Remember, about this particular base point alone, inclination will be there, which means suppose if I select this particular edge here, we have to select two different points. Okay, in case of this taper faces, we have to select two different points. One is the base point and another one should be the line about which the taper face has to be created. Okay, suppose if I select this one here, now this face is going to make certain inclination like this. So I don't want that, so I want to be inclined this way. I want this to be inclined this way. So I have selected this one as the base point, specify the base point. Now it is asking me to specify another point, so I'm going to select this one. So specify the inclination, say 30. Okay, see here. Now the inclination of this particular face with some vertical line here. If I draw some vertical line like this is not actually a vertical line, but for the sake of reference, assume that this one is vertical. So the angle between these two is 30 degrees. Okay, so that is how this taper faces is going to be useful. Extrude faces is also somewhat similar to the option that you have seen earlier. So extrusion height, say 0.5. Don't want to include the taper, so let's include some taper also, say 10 degrees. If so, this is how this extrude faces option is going to work. So in this one, first you need to select the face that you want to extrude. This is going to, if there are modifications still exist after once the basic modeling has been done, then you can go through this. You can use this option, select the face, press enter and specify the extrude distance. I'm giving 0.5 and specify the taper angle. If you put 0, it will be just some straight extrusion. But otherwise, if you want this to be some at certain taper, then you can use that one also. Okay. So after the extrude faces, offset faces. Offset faces can be explained. I will explain this one with two different examples. I'm gonna take a cylinder here. And now say 0.15. Okay. Now see, do you guys know how to make holes? We have two different ways. I'm gonna explain them later class. Okay, for now just listen to this one. Select this particular circle and press enter, extrude it up to this point. Now use the subtract command. Okay, now we have made hole in this one, right? I'm going to apply this offset faces command to this particular hole here, hole face here, and also to this face here. See, offset can be used to extend a certain face. Okay, suppose if you consider this particular face here, you can extend this face, or you can or compress this face. So I'm going to select this face, say 0.2, press enter. If you give, see, okay, if you give negative 0.2, it is going to compress that one. Press enter twice. Okay. Now similarly, this offset works the similar way for the holes also. If you want to extend a certain hole, okay, so you might have taken a circle and you might have extended, you have created the circle, but the actual dimension of the circle is not proper, and if you want to extend the dimension of the circle, you can use this offset command. Press enter, give an offset of negative 0.5, not 5, let us 0.1. Okay, if you use minus, it is going to extend that hole or enlarge that hole. If you want that hole to be closed or shorten that particular circle, then you can use the positive values. Okay, so these are the commands that I want to talk about. So in the later classes I will explain the application, some of the applications of these tools, which they actually need to be explained about the application. Then only you will get a full picture of what am I actually trying to say. Okay, so thank you guys for having me. So if you want me to repeat any topic, or if you still have confusion about a certain concept, whether it is a projection of planes, points, straight lines, you can ask me, and I'm available in the Google Classroom. If you want to post any doubts, you can post them. Okay, so I'm going to stop the stream because I have no electricity power right now. I'm running this class on the UPS, so that's why we're actually seeing some cuts here. So I'm trimming these portions, so I don't have a choice but to do this. Okay, post the comments in the Google Classroom.